Alright, mateys. Yeah, that's kind of my greeting for my German viewers out there. But I figure since you aren't, I probably could have skipped that. Yeah. Many, well, not many, but a few people actually wrote me that my German Let's Explain Yume Nikki video made them wish they understood German because I guess my theories seemed interesting, or I'm the only video that gets shown if they type in what the fuck is behind Yume Nikki in the search bar. So I figured if I can do you some favor with that, I suppose I can try and translate the basics behind this video into English. English isn't my native language, it's German. I've got a horrible accent, so please bear with me. If anyone wants to make subtitles for this, please go ahead, feel free. I won't hold you back. But yeah, if you spot any grammatical mistakes, any odd sayings, anything like that, tell me. So yeah, I'll say ahead that I don't think that my interpretation of Yume Nikki is actually correct. I think it's more like, you know, a Rorschach test, those ink blots you see at psychological movies. It's like you have to find your own interpretation of it. I can only give you what I see behind it, and that, of course, is influenced by what I've seen, what I made of it, what I've experienced. Your experiences with Yume Nikki may have been completely different. Your interpretation is most likely completely different from mine. But, and that's the point of importance here, both and every interpretation that is out there is equally likely to be correct. Unless you say it's about World War III or something, because that, well. So yeah. In the beginning, I'd like to, at first I'd like to apologize that I don't have many pictures here, but I'm a bit lazy today. So I hope you just can understand what I'm saying here, listening to my voice. But yeah, enough chit chat, let's go. The first and most important aspect is that there are at least three kinds of worlds into which Yume Nikki is divided. At first there are directly accessible worlds, which we can access from the Nexus, the worlds that directly lie behind the doors. Then there are not directly accessible worlds, which are accessible via the first worlds. And then there are worlds which you can only access via those worlds which you've accessed from the worlds which you've accessed from the worlds you accessed via the Nexus, and so on. This, I think, actually stands for how deep, how metaphorical those words are, how deep what they signify is within Maruzoki's psyche. Because if you dream something, at first there are some things you actually think about while you are awake, then there are things you don't actually think about, and then, according to Freud here, Sigmund Freud, there are things that you never would think about when you're awake, and you usually forget right when you wake up. So keep that in mind, because it will be important and at two points during my interpretation. So yeah, to begin with, I think that Maruzoki isn't actually a girl, even though her appearance suggests so. I think she is actually a boy. So she is a boy who is a transsexual boy to girl. I will keep addressing her as her, because I think that's the politically correct way to do it, and because I think of her as a girl still. But please keep that in mind also. The first thing I'd like to talk about is QQ-kun, the weird phallic thing in the number world you get when stabbing the zipper in the number world. He is, as I said, a big glob, something rather phallic, who rubs this pole which I guess stands for manliness. Manliness and a certain, yeah, phallic symbolism in general. And he reacts to two effects. At first, there's the knife. If you stab him, so use the effect on him, he rubs faster. And if you take on the catgirl effect and meow, he rubs slower. I will take on another interpretation here, because I think that the knife doesn't actually symbolize violence, but rather the act of talking about your transsexuality. I will get to that later on as well. But if you use the knife on him, which means talking or thinking about that you in fact are a transsexual, he begins, yeah, rubbing faster. Maybe this symbolizes, that if you talk about it, if you think about it, that you actually want to be a girl, you have this urge to just say, no, I'm a man, and I don't do this. Because many transsexuals, at least the few transsexuals I know, actually had that. If they talked about it, they behaved more butch, and they behaved overly manly, and things like that. I think this is to compensate, maybe. On the other hand, the catgirl effect may symbolize overly manly behavior. So, kinda the opposite of the knife, really. I think that maybe because catgirls are, many men's fantasy. Not mine, of course. I've got completely normal fantasies. But, yeah, this catgirl may actually symbolize this overly manly behavior I've already addressed. And this, of course, makes Q-Q-Kun rub slower, because, you feel at peace, you think, yeah, I act like a man. And, yeah, this, of course, also is something that transsexuals tend to do. They behave overly manly and then feel okay again with who they are, at least for a short amount of time. Again, I'll get back to this, to those two effects later on. The knife, which is also important, is that the knife is actually necessary to get to Q-Q-Kun, because you need to stab this zipper. This actually is of importance, I think, because if you talk about that you actually want to be a girl, or even think about it, then you are forced to think about, well, but I'm a man and I'm manly. And yeah, this is, I think, what Q-Q-Kun stands for. And then, of course, we have the infamous face. This weird, humming, buzzing thing that happens if you enter the door right next to Q-Q-Kun. I think that, because it is one of those indirectly accessible worlds, which I've talked about before, is something that Marutsuki can think about when she's awake, not even close. And because it's so disturbing and you wake up right after it, I think it is something that she actually wants to forget. It may have been a rape, or it may have been, a plastic surgery to actually become a woman, which now, of course, Marutsuki tries to hide, because she wants to deny that she's ever been a boy, and she has always been a girl, and But this is really just speculating, like everything here is. I'm leaning very far out of the window speaking, and I will lean out even farther out of the window. So, yeah. Next thing I want to talk about are Monoko, aka the Five-Armed Girl, and Shitai-sama, aka Mr. Corpse. I think Monoko, sorry, not Mononoko, not Princess Mononoke, but Monoko, used to be either Marutsuki's younger sister or a close friend of hers, who accepted her like she was, that she was a transsexual. Monoka knew about that and she was okay with it. And maybe the same goes for Shitai-sama, who I think either was a relative of Marutsuki and or Monoke, or just a close friend of them. and both of them died during a car accident, to which Maritsuki actually feels responsible for, because she turns into a stoplight which may have caused this accident when touching Shitai-sama, and if she uses the stoplight next to Monoke, she turns into this five-armed girl, which not only I, but many fans have attributed to be a horribly disfigured corpse, represented by this five-armed thing in a dream. Because, you know, if you feel bad about something and you dream about it, you usually make it a bit more poetic, so you don't have to feel guilty all the time while dreaming. Okay, and now for the really fucked up and weird part. I hope you've understood what I wanted to say so far, because if you haven't, well, then this you won't understand at all. Masada, aka the piano guy, aka the alien. He is also only indirectly accessible, and I think this is because what happened between him and Maritsuki is also something she tries to forget or to get away from her. Because of the piano in the spaceship and them communicating via music, basically, I think Masada was a piano teacher, teaching Maritsuki how to play the piano. Maybe he was a music student, and Maritsuki, I think, was in love with him. Hear me out on that one. She felt that she was a girl, you know, and of course girls fall in love with boys. And so, yeah, she fell in love with him, because why not? The typically senpai sensei complex, I guess, which is popular in Japan even now. And I guess Masada was a homosexual who fell in love with Maritsuki as well, but not as a girl, seeing her as a girl, but as a boy, because she hadn't told him about him yet. When you sleep in Masada's bed, the ship starts going down. I think this may signify that they actually slept with each other, or at least shared a bed, which caused some tension between them. And then if you stab him, and now we get back to the fact that I think that the knife symbolizes talking about you being a transsexual, then the ship goes down. As I see it, what happened here is that they either had sex or at least got very intimate with each other. And then Maritsuki chose this point to talk about Masada, about, yeah, the fact that she is a transsexual. And Masada just panicked. He saw this as weird and couldn't love her back now because, well, as I said, I think he was a homosexual. And he either stopped talking to her or at least stopped seeing her as a lover. And yeah, this caused the ship to crash on Mars with this weeping creature, Mars-sama, which can only be accessed if you make yourself small via the midget effect, which I guess is how Maritsuki felt. You know, all small and insecure and alone, and weeping about the fact and crying about the fact that she destroyed this by, well, basically just by being who she was. Yeah, I really cannot support my theories about either the knife and the cat further, but what I want to point out is that the knife can kill people, which I guess can be a metaphor for, you know, she talks to people about how she feels, what she is, and this draws them away from her, or so she feels. While the catgirl effect, you know, the overly manly behavior, yeah, I like catgirls, they're so cute and I want to have 5 of them and fuck them all time. This draws them nearer to them and they are like, yeah, me too, and yeah, that's awesome, and yeah, you're a guy. So this is really all I have to speak for that interpretation. And last but not least, we have the witch effect. The witch effect requires certain effects to get, and it is actually the hardest effect you can get in the game. So I guess it is actually meant to be acquired last. And yeah, the witch is an archetypical female role, and you can actually fly when becoming the witch. So I guess this stands for, you know, accepting that you are a girl. But as all here, this is just my interpretation. But yeah, the ending. The ending, which is achieved by getting all the effects. If we take into consideration my theory here that the witch effect might be the last one to get, or meant to be the last one to get, the witch might, yeah, if it really stands for acceptance, then Yume Nikki might be a quest for acceptance. You know, you talk about it, you get various items like long, luscious hair, or you get through weird phases like the frog or the hand. You run faster from it like the bicycle, you talk about it via the knife, you compensate it via the catgirl, and so on, and so on, and so on. I don't want to talk about what every effect means for that. But in the end, you gain the witch, you gain acceptance, you are accepting what you are, and you can wake up, but then, yeah, the ending. I don't want to spoil it for those who haven't played it yet, so I think the ending either means that you can't accept what you are in real life, or that all of this, including sleeping and writing your diary and stuff, was a dream in itself. And yeah, waking up here and the ending just means that you are really waking up and are ready to go on. And yeah, that is my interpretation. I really hope you understood that, because I am not too sure. Please, if you didn't understand it, tell me. I am willing to redo this video if you tell me what was weird or too not understandable and things like that. If, as I said, if you want to give it subtitles or write it out even, or make your own interpretation, feel free, tell me about your interpretation. And last but not least, let me say something on a personal note here, please. Of course, you can just turn out here if you don't want to hear this, but if it really is, as I see it, and Yume Nikki is something for acceptance, is a quest for acceptance, then this is actually quite hard. While I'm not a transsexual, I have struggled with being who I am for a long time, and it was very hard, and I can understand how it is. So if you struggle with who you are, please just let me tell you, you aren't the only one. If you ever struggle with who you are, keep on fighting, talk to people, try to accept yourself for who you are, because really, if you don't, then nobody will. That is the most important thing I can actually tell you. You need to accept yourself. This may be hard. It may take time, it may take effort, but please don't just change yourself because you feel that you'll accept yourself easier this way, because this is the wrong way to go, seriously. So yeah, thanks for listening. Thanks for the people who said I should do this in English. Thanks to you if you actually listen to all that crap. And yeah, take care. If you want me to do further English videos, tell me. I'm always glad to deliver. Until then, I guess. See you guys.